Hello, I am thrilled to have our next guest expert with us today. Her name is Marjorie Saulson, and I'm just going to introduce her now. Communication confidence coach Marjorie Saulson is the author of the #1 international best-selling book, Empowering Business Owners to Overcome Speaking Fears, whether you're talking with one person or 1,000. She is also one of 50 women, including Oprah Winfrey and Melinda Gates, who are contributing authors to the book America's Leading Ladies, Stories of Courage, Challenge, and Triumph. All right, so we're just going to dive in here, Marjorie. We're going to start off with something very important. What is it that makes people so nervous when speaking in front of, more than a couple folks?
Well, the interesting thing is on the list of fears, public speaking is #1 ahead of what I call the 3 Ds of death, disease, and divorce. And when you think about what's the purpose of fear? The purpose of fear is to keep us safe.
It's true.
And what are we so afraid of? It's not like a tiger is going to jump out at us from the wings or something. It's an emotional fear. We're afraid of being criticized. That's a stupid idea. We're afraid of being rejected. No way, Jose. And we're afraid of failing and falling flat on our faces. And so those 3 fears of criticism or judgment, rejection and failure are the things that worry us. And we don't feel emotionally safe. And that's what makes us feel afraid.
Right. Yeah, I've been reading a lot lately into the subject, and yeah, it'd be really nice if we could move forward in the way of personal growth and face fear more head on, put ourselves into situations that maybe perhaps make us a little bit uncomfortable and be okay with those. And I think that's, yeah, what you're leading
What
to.
I call that is busting out of the jail of your comfort zone. Because
Right.
everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. But the
True.
thing is, do you just do it blindly, or do you do it with some idea of how you do it with chances of success?
Right. Either with a plan or without a plan.
Yes, and the thing is, to me, the fundamental foundation of confidence is knowing you have something worthwhile to share. When you know that you have a good message, that it makes sense, it's well organized, it's clear, it's compelling, and it's worthwhile, then sharing that and understanding the mindset is to get off your, worrying about whether the butterflies in your stomach are flying in formation,
Right.
and think that you have something valuable to share. Somebody needs to know what you want to share. And if you don't share it, you are cheating that person. And one of the reasons I consider the message foundational is it handles those fears, because if somebody criticizes you and you know it's a really good message, then you can, after you take the knife out of your heart, you
Because
can
we're all human.
come into your adult self and ask yourself, do I respect this person's opinion? There are some people in this life who feel so small themselves that the only way they can feel big is to go around shooting other people down. So if it's one of those people, you have to say, do I respect this person's opinion? And if you don't, the heck with it. And the other thing is, unless you feel you know absolutely everything there is to know about your subject, maybe there's a good idea in there that you could add into your understanding, because sometimes people share good ideas and they're dressed up in what I call unfortunate clothes.
Right. So it sounds like everything you're saying is all about growth.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when you share an idea, the rejection piece is understand that not everybody needs what you have to offer. My favorite example is, if you're selling widgets and somebody only wants to buy a gadget, they're going to say no because they don't want your widget, whatever it is.
Right.
So sharing a message is a way of sorting, actually, between people who are interested and can benefit from what you're offering, and people who are not interested and who might know somebody. So when I share a message, I always consider it planting a seed.
Mhm.
Some people say, "Oh gosh, I need that. I need your help right away." I got a call from some guy. I have to give a speech, and whenever I get up, he says, I'm so afraid that the whole audience, I can't even see him. All I see is a gray wall. So I had to help him, and get past that. And also I had to help him clean up his message. It was so unclear. I
Yeah,
told
it
I,
helps
I, I
folks.
had read it about 5 times and I couldn't understand it. So I helped him clear up his message and get really clear about it. So he felt
Right.
really comfortable with it. And then we did a lot of work on getting past that fear.
All right. And that would build confidence right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, if you could, with all your experience and your years of knowledge, could you share some secrets, basically, that we could think about utilizing if we're in a situation where we need to speak in front of more than a few folks? What are some secrets you could share in calming our nerves and bringing us to that point where we feel capable and in control of the situation?
Okay, first of all, by the way, I define public speaking not simply as giving a speech. I define it as any time you talk to somebody other than yourself. And sometimes you can be very nervous talking to one person. So
It
I'm
depends.
always I'm always recalling the words of the man I call my favorite American philosopher, Mark Twain.
Right, right.
And most people don't know that he made his living the latter part of his life giving speeches because he lost all his book money in some kind of boondoggle. And this is what he said: there are two types of speakers, those who are nervous and those who are liars. The
Oh,
fact that
sorry. The second
liars,
one.
they are
Oh,
lying when they're saying they're not nervous. In other words, don't beat yourself up. That's the first thing. If you're feeling nervous about saying something or sharing something, it's perfectly natural. You shouldn't beat yourself up for it. That's number one.
very important.
Number two, when we feel all of our feelings in our bodies. And so we use our bodies to help calm ourselves. And there are a couple things that happen. First of all, one of the things that happens when we're nervous is we start breathing shallowly. And so when you can focus on breathing deeply, taking slow, deep breaths, and if you count when you're doing it, you get your mind off feeling nervous.
Right.
And so doing that kind of deep breathing is very helpful. And there's a bonus to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you breathe deeply as you're speaking, you are accessing the resonance in your chest. And when you speak without chest resonance, you don't sound so good. So people who don't like the sound of their voices very often are just speaking basically from their throat and in their heads, and they're not accessing chest resonance. So when you're
Very.
breathing, it not only helps keep you calm, but it improves the sound of your voice. So you get
I,
a double bonus.
and wouldn't that slow you down a little bit when you're speaking?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing that happens very often is that people, when you get nervous, you start clenching your jaw. And
Yes.
you actually lose the resonance that comes from your mouth, which is another resonating space. So the way you can take care of that is to yawn from the hinge. Now, what do I mean by the hinge? The hinge is the back of your mouth, right here, where your back, your teeth, your upper and lower teeth meet. And when
Right.
you yawn from back here, rather than just dropping your chin, when you consciously do that, you'll feel the muscles stretch in front of your ears,
And open up, sort of.
and it opens up that space, and you're giving your body a message that you're safe. Because if there were a tiger pursuing you, you wouldn't spend your time yawning.
That is very valuable. I like that one. An actual physical movement that you can do to send a message to your brain that everything is fine, and therefore it relaxes you and brings you forward.
Yeah, and change your focus. You have something valuable to share, and the person out there, you want to share it with that person. Now, it may be of value to that person or not, or they may know somebody who will be of value. If you are the best kept secret, you are
Perception.
not serving the people you're meant to serve. You're not sharing the ideas and the thoughts that you have that may be of real value to somebody. And just
Yeah.
remember that just because you don't get an immediate yay response, a lot of times people need to process ideas for a while.
That's an
That's why,
important point you just made right there.
yeah, that's why I call sharing stuff as planting seeds.
You may not get an instant reaction, but the seeds are sown.
Yeah. I actually, I came up with this one because my husband is somebody who's slow to process new ideas, and I'll suggest something, and
Yeah.
and a few months later, he'll come up with a really great idea.
Planting seeds.
Now, I have to tell you that he's gotten a lot better. We've been married, thank God, 50 years now.
Oh, that's wonderful, Marjorie. Oh, I
And
love
so
to hear stories
he's
like
a
that.
lot faster. And I will confess it. I've gotten to this point. I said, honey, why don't you just admit it's a good idea right away instead of waiting?
All right, speaking of good ideas, a really good idea is to ask you this next question. I could see this being a question that you get quite often. How do you handle a question that you're not ready to answer on the tip of your tongue? There's a pause basically.
Okay.
How do you tackle something like that?
Well, the first person who asked me that was a fellow who worked in this corporation, and he confessed that he would sit in all of these corporation meetings, dreading being asked the question he couldn't answer because he was afraid it would blow his credibility and his chances for a raise and advancement. And one of the ladies I talked to, she says, I don't want to look like an idiot in front of my coworkers. So
Yeah.
I came up with this system, and I call it ACE. Like I aced the test.
Okay.
ACED.
ACE, Alpha Charlie Echo.
So A is for acknowledge. And the minute I say this, you're going to think, oh God, I've heard people do that all the time. That's a really good question. When you hear people being interviewed, they will say this. That's a really good question. And
Right.
that's a very interesting question. The C is for clarify. The fact is you cannot give a good answer to a bad question. And some questions are so broad or so vague that how could you answer it? So you ask for clarification. And this is where you admit that you don't know everything in the entire world. You say, I'm not really sure I understand what you're getting at. Could you give me an example of what you mean by that question?
Right.
Something like where you ask for clarification.
This is wonderful. Mm-hmm.
And all the time you're hoping that you will be able to channel an answer. The E is for illicit. That's with an E, not an I, meaning illegal, but illicit, draw out. If you're in a group of people, you can say, that's not an area, frankly, that I have studied, or that's something that's on our list to do next month. Is there somebody else who can share an answer right away? That's only appropriate, of course, if you're in a group of people. But the other thing is you can say, it's obviously you've thought about this. Have you come up with any answers to that question? Ask
Oh
them if
my
they've had
gosh.
have you had any thoughts?
And it therefore, basically makes the conversation continue, which again might sort of lead to your ideas springing forth at that point.
Okay, so and then the D in the ACE is for deliver or delay. Either you get this wonderful gift from your subconscious or you channel it from the spheres and you come up with a good answer. Or you say very frankly, that's something I really need to investigate. Let me get back to you in 3 days or a week or whatever, and then do it. Now,
Oh,
the
Marjorie, yeah.
interesting thing about this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very counterintuitive, we human beings, we hate to admit we don't know something.
Truly.
We think it blows our credibility. But doing this and saying honestly when you don't know something and you need to get back actually increases the trust people have in you, because they know that anytime you give them an answer, it's going to be the truth as you understand it. Because the truth is, when that fake it till you make it, everybody's BS meter is always on. And they're going to know if you're trying to fake it. And if they can't trust you to answer that question, how can they trust anything else you tell them?
Yeah. Oh, Marjorie, this is wonderful advice, actually. I've got at least 3 nuggets I'm going to be utilizing in the next couple months or so. Boy, oh
Good.
boy. All right. So I wanted to ask you, what is the best way people can connect with you to learn more about how you can help them, Marjorie?
Well, first of all, I would invite everybody to take advantage. I have a complimentary ebook called Communication Confidence. And I talk a lot about it's 10 powerful pathways to increase your public speaking confidence. And I added, when I updated, I added an 11th, how to get your nerves to serve you instead of sabotage you. And you can get that very easily by going to my website, vibrantvocalpower.com. And if you do / and the word leader, because we're all talking about leaders in this thing, you will get immediately to the page where you can find it. The website itself is vibrantvocalpower.com. And if you want to reach me, there's a contact place there. But to get that report directly, vibrantvocalpower.com / leader, LEADER.
All right. And I also wanted to let everyone know I'm signed up for your coffee hour today, I believe.
Coffee and Coaching Club, yes.
So
Yes, I
is
do
that
that twice a month.
twice a month?
Twice a month, the first and third Tuesdays at noon Eastern. And I'm gradually getting the old ones put up on my YouTube channel. But the easy way to check those out is to go to coffeeandcoaching.club.
All
And
right.
twice a month, I speak about some type of communication issue. It's free, and everybody's welcome to come.
Oh, all right. Well, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much, Marjorie. I've truly enjoyed speaking with you. And I know everyone, yes, that is tuned in today has benefited. I definitely look forward to speaking with you a little later. All right. You take care, and we'll see you again, folks.